Hello everybody, my name is Grace and today we will continue. I will read all of it at the end. Chapter 7 and Chapter 8. Let's go. Chapter 7. Creating a New Nation. Ben reached Philadelphia on May 5th, 1775. The very next morning he was asked to serve in the Continental Congress. There was a meeting of American leaders. It opened in Philadelphia on May 10th. Its main job was to win the war against England. At the age of 69, Ben Franklin worked 12 hours a day in Congress. One of his jobs was to organize the United States Postal Service. He soon had mail moving swiftly among all 13 colonies. It was crucial. To win the war, people throughout America have to work together. Another job that didn't go as well. In the spring of 1776, Ben was sent north Canada with 3 other men. They tried to convince the Canadians to fight on America's side. Their efforts failed. Worse still, Ben nearly died from the cold and strain of the trip. But he made it back to Philadelphia in time to take a part in the great question of the day. Early facts. When 13 colonies went to war against England, the American colonists wanted their own flag to represent the land they were fighting for. Here are some of the flags colonists used during the Revolution. These 5 facts. Should America declare its independence from England? The American people were divided. Many thought that the war would end quickly and the tax trouble would be solved. Then, America could return to English rule. But just as many Americans wanted to break free of England and form a new country, America's leaders were also divided. Benjamin Franklin was the leader of the Congressmen who wanted to create a new nation. Congress was to vote on the issue in July of 1776. If the vote came out for independence, America would need to explain exactly why it was breaking away from England. Congress asked 5 men to write a Declaration of Independence. Benjamin Franklin was one. Thomas Jefferson of Virginia was another. Jefferson did most of the writing. They made a few changes. For example, Jefferson wrote, "We hold these truths to sacred and undeniable." Ben improved it to, "We hold these truths to be self-evident." It was a simpler way to say that some things were plain to see. Congress voted on July 2nd, with a little arm twisting by Ben. The vote came out strongly for independence. The 13 colonies were now the United States of America. Congress approved the declaration 2 days later. Ever since, Americans have honored that day, July 4th, 1776, as the country's birthday. At the signing of the declaration, Ben made a famous comment. John Hancock was president of Congress. He wanted everyone to cooperate. "We must bring hands together," he said. "Yes," answered Ben. "We must bring all hands together. Almost assuredly we shall hang separately." He meant that they must work together, or else. If America lost by the war, England must hang each leader by the neck. Ben was happy about independence, but his heart was heavy for personal reasons. Many families, including the Franklins, were split by the war. Ben begged his son to quit New Jersey governor. He wanted William to his side with America. The father and son wrote letters back and forth. They had some heart-to-heart talks. Ben could not convince William to leave his post. He had to become an English gentleman, just as Benjamin has wanted. One by one, England's colonial governors were removed from the office. They were replaced with Americans. William was thrown out of the office. He was put in a filthy jail cell where he nearly died. Still, William Franklin stayed loyal to England. Nothing ever hurt me so much, Ben said, about his son siding with Britain. A word from Ben to Congress might have freed up William, but Ben never spoke up for his son. The United States were fighting for its life. He felt that special treatment for William would be unfair. In Britain, people were more afraid of Benjamin Franklin than of George Washington and his army. Rumors spread that Benjamin was a wizard. He had invented weapons that could destroy all of England. He had a tiny device that could turn buildings into ash. He had reflecting mirrors that could burn the British Navy. He had an electrical machine that could flip England upside down like a pancake. Of course, Ben had no such weapons, and for quite some time it looked like America would lose the war. Then, in the fall of 1776, Congress sent Ben Franklin overseas on a mission that could decide the war. He was to convince France to help America fight England. Once in France, Franklin found that the British spies were everywhere. He couldn't always meet with French leaders. Some messages had been written in invisible ink and signed with secret code names. But after a year of work, Ben got what he came for. France joined the American side in early 1778 alone. The young United States may not have beaten England. Things changed after France stepped in. French money, troops, ships, weapons helped the United States win its war for independence in 1783. Franklin signed with peace treaty made that year. Ben wanted to go home after the war was won, but Congress asked him to stay in France. There, he would be a spokesman for the new country. Finally, in 1785, Congress said that he could leave. That summer, he went to Southampton, England, to sail for home. William Franklin had been set free during the war. He had fled to England. William learned that his father was Southampton. Benjamin was 79 years old. William was 54. The father and son who had flown a kite in the storm saw each other one last time. Billy tried to make up, but his father refused to forgive him for having sided with England. Ben arrived in Philadelphia in September of 1785. Ahead of him was a quiet retirement, or so he thought. Chapter 8. The Rising Sun. A Rising Sun. Ben returned home with a hero. He landed at the spot where he had entered Philadelphia as a teenage runaway. This time, cannon slaughtered him. Bells were rung. His speeches was made honoring the man who had done so much to win America's freedom. A few weeks later, he was elected governor of Pennsylvania. The new nation was in trouble. The government was very weak. There was no national currency. The army was tiny. If something wasn't done, the country might not last for long. Something was done. A conversation was held to make a government stronger. States chose leading men to attend. Ben Franklin of Pennsylvania was the one of the delegates. The convention opened in Philadelphia in May 1787. Its members hammered out a framework of governments, the U.S. Constitution. At 81, Franklin was the oldest delegate. When there were arguments, Ben told funny stories to calm things down. He also helped solve the big problem. The large states wanted to have the most say in the government. The small states feared that they would have much power. Franklin helped work out a solution. The House of Representatives states large states would have more members than small states. But in the Senate, each state, regardless of size, could have no members. Ben Franklin and other founding fathers signed the Constitution on September 17, 1787. As did they so. Benton pointed to the chair which George Washington had sat. The chair was on a picture of the sun. During the convention, Ben had wondered whether it was supposed to be a rising setting. He was now hopeful the country that he knew. "It is a rising sun," he exclaimed. During his last year, Ben lived with his daughter Sally and her 7 children. He served as the governor of Pennsylvania until 1788. That year, he was 82 years old, but by his very own special way of counting, he was only 58. After age 70, Ben had decided not to get any older. So from then on, with each birthday, he counted a year backwards. One of Ben's final projects was to try to end slavery. He served as the president of Anti-Slavery Society. His very last public act was to sign a paper that was sent to Congress. The paper asked that slavery must be stopped. Poor health made Ben spend his last 2 years in bed. He passed the time by listening to his grandchildren, reciting their lessons. In the spring of 1790, he became very ill. Sally told him that he wouldn't live many more years. "I hope not," answered her father. He died a few hours later on April 17, 1790, at the age of 84. Tributes came from around the world. Tributes came in from around the world. Statues of him were built. Poems, articles, and books were written about him. Saying from France became very popular. He snatched the lightning from the sky and Skipper from trance. Ben Franklin deserved all the praise. He did so much in his long life. His greatest accomplishment was still going strong. The United States, the country that he helped create. That's the end of the story, and I see you on the next book. Bye bye!